Welcome right back to the Buds Podcast, episode 18. Now, it's been kind of a quiet weekend in sports, I'd say. Some things have come out in the NBA and like normal, the MLB, but usually it's just the same stuff as normal. But some big news, big news on the most hated team in baseball.
Old news,
but new news has come out about the New York Yankees. I think we're gonna save that talk till the end.
The
last topic, because I know about 6 out of 6 of us here have very strong opinions on it. So we're all gonna need a good 20-minute segment to talk about how we feel.
If you get triggered easily, don't watch the end. Just kidding, watch the end.
So I think first off, we're gonna start talking about the NBA and how Kyrie Irving has started a I feel like you can say he's like the leader of a group. I think I saw this is the first time he's led a group of players in June to something.
Yeah, in June. Yep, it's the best time.
But he had a Zoom call a couple days ago with over 100 NBA players, and he's trying to get players not to play in Orlando because he doesn't want to play for the I forgot, the systematic racism of the NBA. I think I'm not quoting that exactly, but he said something along that line. He's saying playing down there would be supporting systematic racism.
Which, by the way, just came out of nowhere. You've never heard that about him.
Which it doesn't make sense. I feel like playing, you can make money you're basically supporting the fact of like, we're a black man in America and we can be at the highest level of sports.
Because you're on the court, you can do something with your shoes and stuff. I know it's not like here to do that.
You can support the movement, and you can make money to support the movement. So I don't really understand
use
that
your
aspect
platform
of it. I mean, I understand the fact of like they don't want to play because they don't like how the world is right now, which is understandable.
He doesn't want to go down in there and get beat by LeBron in the first round.
He's not even gonna play.
Dwight Howard said he was backing Kyrie. So
yeah, I mean that's fine. Cousins is back.
Dwight Howard said he would love to win his.
Him and Avery Bradley.
Did you see how he said it? He said, Dwight Howard said, "I would love to win my first NBA championship." Like he's already predicting that they're winning it.
But he said, but this means more to me in the future or something like that.
Yeah.
So Cousins is coming back to replace him, and Avery Bradley's also doing the same thing. J.R. Smith's coming to the team to replace him. So
I mean, I don't think that it will affect it because now that the NBA has implemented the replacement player type of thing. So
yeah,
it won't. I mean, you probably might not see your big guys down there. I didn't even think Kyrie was going to play due to the injury that he had. But I mean, I don't think it will affect that bad for down there.
I saw a tweet that said that if someone, I forget what player tweeted, they said if LeBron wants to play, then the league's gonna play. They said.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Well, and everybody else was to play. Chris Paul said he wanted to play, and others.
And I know a couple.
They're the heads of it.
Like I said on our last video, I think a lot of the Clippers came out at first and say they weren't going to play, but now a lot of them are saying, we would rather play and support the movement and everything like that than not play. And yeah, even though I understand the basis of why they wouldn't play because the world is kind of looking grim right now. I mean, it's not in the best state we've had it, but I don't know. It's a dicey situation, but I think that no matter what, they should be playing, in my eyes.
For sure.
Now, other than that, there wasn't really much to talk about the NBA. I think because they kind of sorted out their details there last week, and then as we get closer, we'll hear more. So I think for the first time, we're going to talk about KBO a little bit earlier in the episode.
Nick, start off.
I'll let Nick take it away.
So the last episode, we saw that Doosan was playing against Hanwha, and we're like, oh, that should be an easy sweep. But then today I look, and the Doosan Bears lost the series. And I just don't know what's going on with that team. Like,
it's not a done deal that they're gonna win every game, though.
But like, Hanwha was like 6-27, or I don't even know what their record.
It was 7-27.
The Tigers won 43 games last year.
Okay.
So they
mean,
beat an opponent 43
so now-
times.
because Doosan winning that series would have pulled them closer to NC because NC lost 2 of 3, I think we saw, correct? Over the
Yeah.
weekend. So yeah, that would have brought them closer to NC, which would have made, I mean, it's still a really close battle. I think Doosan is 20-12 and NC is now 25-9. So
They let the LG Twins pass them now. So now Doosan's in third.
oh no, they're tied, I think.
No, I see the LG's up by 1 game.
Oh, I don't know. It must have updated because when I was checking earlier when we were talking about it, it showed that they were tied. So,
Oh, the
something I
Twins
did
roll,
come across,
baby.
something I did come across before we talk about the stats from the weekend. A Canadian is playing in the KBO right now,
Huh?
and
Oh.
he's saying that the sport can be played safely, so that the MLB shouldn't have gone on for this long debating that like about the safety. At least he was saying that the game, like you can play the game of baseball, like they shouldn't have worried about the safety as much.
So you're telling me that a Canadian is playing an American sport in Korea and not having a problem?
Yes, Mr. Jamie Romack.
I mean, the MLB's probably not even about the safety.
I mean, at first they were. I feel like they were really worried about the safety, and then they kind of it shifted to the money issue, I think. But yeah, he was saying how he's played it and they've really had no issues with like any like people testing positive or anything like that when South Korea was starting to become a hotspot for the coronavirus at first.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's better now.
I mean, yeah, it's better for them. Obviously, they've taken a lot of precautions there, but we can talk about the stats if you want.
But yeah, I see there's a new RBI leader.
Yeah, he's slowly been coming up in the. He's second in home runs. He's third in average, and he's first in RBIs now. So he could maybe come away with Triple Crown. I know we haven't talked about Triple Crown leaders at all, but
I mean, the Triple Crown is going to be the MVP.
Because everybody was so up and down.
I mean,
It feels like a new player's always like in the top 5 and everything each week.
I mean, it's. I feel like it's like this. The KBO is run on hot streaks, without a doubt, for player stats at least.
Mm-hmm.
But we still got Joe's father in first place for home runs,
Let's
Mr.
go.
Roberto Ramos.
I don't even know why I'm saying let's go. I guess I'm just saying it for Joe's sake to feel good for him.
And then Jin Sung Kang he's still at a 450 RBI, so or not RBI, still 450 average. So he's running away from Jose.
Yeah.
That's Jose slow after Nick made the bold statement about Jose, he's slowly been falling off. I don't want to say that it was jinx, but I think we called it was jinx at the beginning there.
I just feel like pitchers are pitching him more tough now. Or they're not giving him much pitches to hit.
Talking about pitchers, Mr. Chang Mo Koo's average went up a little bit. He's at 75 now.
He was at like 64 last time, I think.
Yeah.
He's really allowed to run.
And Mr. Warwick Supple.
He's back?
He got another win versus
Let's go.
versus the Doosan Bears.
He beat Doosan yesterday.
Let's go.
Last game there. So
They're trading for him, I'm telling you.
I mean, after that game, they might honestly. But he has a healthy his ERA actually dropped a full point. He's at a 3.63.
That's what we like to see.
After that game,
Because Doosan only had 2 runs.
But he's still at a 3-4 record.
He allowed 8 hits though, but they got no runs off him.
That's all right.
So not much has changed in the KBO over the weekend. I mean, those couple games or whatever. So now moving on to another sport. Again, it's been a trend these last couple of episodes, but another sport we haven't talked about on the channel, on the podcast yet, the PGA. It's been in full swing. I think this is their first match, or what do they call it?
I think you're right.
Like tournament or whatever.
Their first tournament or challenge that they've done since they've returned, I'm pretty sure. It was the Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth, Texas. The possible winnings were $7.5 million.
Damn.
And
Okay.
Mr. Daniel Berger walked away, winning
Daniel.
$1.4
That's my
million.
guy.
Daniel.
I'm trying to look here to see if any notable names were in the top 10.
Bubba Watson tied for 7th.
Yeah, I see that Jordan Spieth was tied for 10th.
I saw that it's a bunch of randoms. I saw that like Bubba Watson was like one of the top golfers now in the PGA.
He has been, I thought.
Is Tiger Woods not doing it?
He's not in
no,
this
I think
one
he
now.
was sitting out of this one.
Wow,
I knew a couple of them were sitting out, like because this isn't as big of a tournament, I don't think, or whatever. Again, whatever.
and this tournament went to a 1-hole playoff.
Yeah, because they
That's
were
how
both.
close it was.
Yeah, they were. Daniel Berger and Colin Morikawa
Okay.
were
Sorry.
both
Sorry,
under
I
15.
butchered names.
They were both under 15, and Colin came away with 817K, which isn't bad. I mean, I would love to walk away coming in second.
Yeah.
817K. But yeah, I mean that's another live sport that had started again. I mean, it's not that as exciting of a
I mean,
sport.
people roast golf, but that's pretty good money for one tournament.
But, I mean, let me see. What did?
Because Berger made 1.3 mil for that win.
Yeah, hold on. If you came in 67th place, you got 15K.
All right.
You just got to show up.
No,
Mhm.
there's a lot of guys that got cut from the tournament. So you actually got to try a decent amount, but yeah, probably about 50, maybe 75 guys got cut from the tournament. So you got to try, but I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, it's me saying that, but you got to try to get 15K. But if you can walk away from a tournament with 15K, do that every month, get 67th place, I mean, 12 months. I mean, you make over 100K. Not bad for a year.
Yeah.
Just going out there and playing some golf. But I think that's all we got for the golf, and now we're moving on to the.
Before we do this, can I drop the breaking news?
Go ahead.
The Pistons are eyeing the Thunder executive. Troy Weaver is a top candidate to fill the Pistons GM position.
As their GM.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay,
I
knew they were looking
as
for a
we
GM.
speak.
Okay, thank you for the news drop there.
That'll help
But
them.
now,
Pistons haven't been relevant in months or years.
okay, moving on to the most anticipated topic of the week and of the episode is the MLB, Rob Manfred, and the New York Yankees. I don't know who wants to start with this. I think I'll let. Yeah. I'll give. Yeah.
It's a round table, really.
I'll let Mort go first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll let you take the panel first.
I don't want to start it. Okay. I want to join in.
Okay, I'll give a little backstory on it. So, I believe it. What day was that the news came out that the New York judge was
Thursday or Friday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Thursday
think
or
it was
Friday.
Friday.
I believe it was Friday.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
that
I think it
long
was
ago.
late Friday afternoon. That a New York judge was had put out issued a warrant for the New York Yankees to release the letter that had been sent to the commissioner's been sent from the commissioner's office with possible details of them cheating from as early as 2017, using the same tactics as the Astros, the Red Sox, and teams like that.
Which surprises me that it's a New York judge that did that. He must be a Mets fan.
He must be. Or
I mean,
he must
he
be
did.
like a Red Sox
The
fan.
New
That's
York
from New
judge said that the Yankees letter, the MLB's 2017 letter to the Yankees should be unsealed.
Yeah,
That's what he
thank
said.
you, Ben.
Everybody said that.
Thank you. Yeah, so the New York judge came out and said in the details saying that they cheated, and more has come out saying that Rob Manfred knew they were cheating. There had been a small investigation into it, but he decided to cover it up.
And he said, here's the rug. Let me sweep it under.
And this has caused a lot of problems or not problem, a lot of uproar. And as you see, for three of our men over here, they are now supporting the Astros in full effect.
Hey, we have been.
Everybody's
Well,
been in
I should put up.
I'm
I should put
I'm
up
not
a
really
Twins
supporting the
one,
Astros.
but,
I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
Put in the
I
face
think
of
we're more or
Yankee
we're not
fans
more or
that
less
were-
supporting the Astros. We want the Yankees to get the same
I don't know if-
treatment the Astros.
I don't know if
get.
it'll show up, but tell me what this says. Oh, it does show up.
Yeah,
Tell me what this says, dog.
that's the whole
and
point of my
especially-
background.
Especially when the whole Astros thing came out, Yankees fans were completely ripping into Astros fans with like no regret, no remorse.
They were physically crying
And
that they
now,
lost.
They
now
thought that was the
this
reason
came
they
out
didn't
about
make
the
it.
Yankees, they're all like, "Oh well."
Which
don't
this
come
all,
at us."
by the way, this all came out at the same time. It was just they put the rumors to bed real quick.
Like
They
I
said-
didn't hear
they said,
anything
"Nah,
about the
it was
Yankees.
just It was just the Astros and Red Sox. Like it was around the same week that they came out, and then you just didn't hear it anymore because
Yeah.
John Boy was on Twitter crying too much. You just didn't hear it anymore.
I mean, let's be honest here. If you look, like, the Astros, you could hear the banging of the trash can during games, and I don't know if that computer system they showed was, like, the actual thing, or was that just a coincidence, but there was a lot of proof that the public could see that the Astros were stealing signs. But since the Yankees are like the biggest team and they have the most supporters in the MLB, it's not a surprise that the commissioner just covered it up.
Well, and the other thing about the Yankees, I know we shared it in our Twitter group chat. It was I think Saturday. About Joe Girardi on
I was
MLB
just gonna
Network.
bring
I was
that
about to say
up.
that too. I think
On
we're all
MLB
thinking
Network
that.
describing how
And nobody
to cheat.
cared. I had retweeted it at that time. I said, "Here it is," and everybody's like, "Nah, he's just talking about something else."
He was
he's
What
mad
else
he
would he
got
be
fired.
talking about?
He
He's
was
mad he
literally
got fired. Like,
standing.
what?
He was standing at second, and he was like, "So basically, what you do is you have a."
He said the organization I was a part of. People
Yeah,
like
he
he's
said-
just whining that he got fired from the Yankees. Like what? He's
And
only
he
worked
said-
for the Yankees.
So he was like, so we have a camera in center field. That camera in center field, we have 3 guys out there. They relay to our guys in the outfield. We have.
He said what he had said was they had a camera in left field, center field, and right field, all
Yeah.
pointed at the catcher, ran by somebody upstairs in the
Yeah,
front
they had 3 guys. Then they
Yeah.
had 3 guys that would analyze pitches the entire
and
game.
they would tell the person upstairs what was happening. Which I mean, you got to give them credit that they executed this so fast. But
You had to
I
have
don't know.
smart guys doing that.
I'm kind of wondering too how they did it without anybody on base. Besides, I mean, I did hear that they were whistling and had people in the crowd, which ironically was what the Yankees fans were accusing the Astros of doing. So
Well, no. What I heard is that they had guys in the dugout that would then.
they had guys. What had came out when the Astros thing came out was that they had guys behind the plate that would like yell something or whistle or like I don't want to say like speaking a different language, and guys would know what that meant. And so whenever somebody was on second base, it'd be relayed from the front office to the dugout, to the guy on second base, from the guy on second base to the to the hitter.
Yeah.
By either taking a step back or a step forward or a longer lead or shortening the lead.
I think he said like turning around or something like that.
Yeah,
too.
and he said the second base or the guy at second would do something, and that would be how they would relay the message to the hitter if there was a guy on base.
Which I think I could be wrong, but I want to say the Yankees are the ones that first started the whole Apple Watch thing and then pawned it off onto the Red Sox. And then they start the cheating thing and the whistling and Spanish and everything, then pawn it off on the Astros. And then they escape easy.
Now, there was that picture of DJ LeMahieu with the possible buzzer under his jersey.
I
So
mean, I'm so happy I saw that because the stupid picture of people were tweeting about the Astros saying buzzers.
Yeah.
Do you think that if that was actually a buzzer under his jersey, though? I mean,
I don't think
No, I think it was
anybody
just
in
a
the league was
coincidence.
one.
I think
I
it's
don't
just
think,
a funny coincidence. I don't
no
think
matter
Altuve
what-
had one either.
no matter what team you were playing for, you weren't wearing a buzzer.
Yeah.
you think
It's
that's
just
too
it was
far?
just a funny thing that the
I think
Yankees
it's some
fans.
stupid thing John Boy made up with, and everybody ran with it.
Yeah.
Because everything John Boy says is stupid.
So you think the cheating was strictly like they could have been doing for years and years and years, just simple like taps, whistles, stuff like that.
I mean, think
Yeah,
about it.
Carlos Beltran said they were doing it when he played for the Yankees. That's how he started it with the Astros. But
And-
again, everybody's like, "Nah, he was just lying." I'm a Yankees fan. I don't believe it because I see one person say he was lying.
And see, the other thing I've heard is, again, on our favorite show, the Pat McAfee show.
Yes.
This was a while ago. It was a catcher from the Indians. You guys might know. I don't know who exactly. He said that sign stealing has been a thing for years, and that
Yeah.
as a catcher, you kind of just have to accept the fact that you're going to do
Mhm.
it, and you just have to outplay them. You just, I
You
mean,
have no matter what system you're in, what level or anything, you got somebody that is designated to do that.
Mhm.
Like being a PO, I was designated for that. I wasn't very good at it, but I was designated it sometimes.
I mean, the fact is, yes, it sucks that it is a form of cheating, but it's something that's been around for a long time. So there's some acceptance to it in this. It's kind of an unwritten rule that, like, hey, it's something around, but maybe don't do it. Like,
I mean,
it's
the thing
something like
is that, I mean, I feel like everybody has done it. I don't think it's like just
lot.
the Yankees or just the Astros or just the Red Sox. I think it's everybody in the league has cameras in the outfield.
I don't think
I-
the Tigers
I
did it.
saw a tweet.
And then again, I don't think the Tigers did it. They might have done a
No,
little better.
they were doing it so well that you have no idea because they were hiding it by losing, but they're practicing for the future so that they got it all down. Is what it was.
See, the thing
Yeah.
about the Astros, I think, is the extent they took it to with the
They won.
They actually won the World Series, and then it was confirmed that they were doing it, and then they literally had we said we didn't know if this was just a coincidence or whatever, but they had a computer in the dugout, and
Well, it was in the tunnel.
in the tunnel. But the extent they took it to, I think that's why it was in such an uproar.
But at least that was coming from the dugout. It wasn't coming from upstairs to guy A that relays to guy C that tells guy B.
Well, no,
Like-
it definitely was. They definitely had that system.
He was just sitting there. He was just sitting there kicking a can.
But I mean, they definitely had a system. He probably only needed to be a one-man show. That's how
And
smart he was.
you
Yankees
can't tell
fans aren't
me-
that smart, so they had to have like 4 or 5 guys doing it.
You can't tell
I mean,
me
the Yankees
that
have so much money that they can just pay as many people as they want to do it for them.
Yeah.
these guys are some of the best in the league. You can't tell me that they didn't. I mean, like, we've already seen the proof about the swing percentages and stuff, but you
Yeah.
can't tell me that they needed help knowing what was coming. These guys are Altuve is an MVP and a batting title winner, Silver Slugger. Bregman's an MVP candidate, and other guys they don't need it. It just happened. There's
Okay,
no
but then you
proof
look
that
at
it
the
actually
fact
helped.
of-
And
Because it
there's-
certainly didn't help the Yankees. They ran into this man right here, and he ate him up. I mean, along with the rest of the staff. Yes.
Mr. Fast Flakes himself.
Yes.
Had to pull that out there for a second.
and
He
it
ate him
pisses
up like
me
he used
off.
to in the past.
It
Go ahead,
pissed me
Nick.
off that Yankee fans try to say they didn't cheat, but there's this stat that shows in New York in the 3 games they played in that 2017 ALCS, they had 19 runs they scored. In Houston, in 4 games, they only scored 3.
Yeah.
Wait,
Plus that they were
so-
playing in a real stadium with further walls and such, but
So you're telling me right now is that in 2017 the Minnesota Twins could have went to the ALCS if they didn't have the sign saying that Didi DeGregorius knew that pitch was coming to tie up the game.
I don't know about the ALCS, but maybe the DS.
I mean, they probably did that too.
Yeah,
Because
let's
the
be
C-
honest here.
the-
I'm sure that every team in the MLB did this. In the
ALCS, who they have
90s,
played?
every
The
team
Red
in the
Sox.
MLB probably had somebody who was on steroids.
Yeah,
It's-
I mean,
It's the
just-
exact
we-
same thing. They probably had some form of sign stealing.
Brad, I'm gonna
Most
say I
likely
think
with-
the
with
Twins
cameras
would have
like that.
played the Red Sox, so I don't know about all that ALCS talk. But
we
never
just
know.
watched last night. We just watched the what was it called again?
Long gone summer.
Long Gone Summer, and they were talking about the '98 season with Sosa, Ken Griffey Jr., and Mark McGuire. And I personally earlier in the this year I had to do a for my sports psychology class I had to do a project on steroids, and when you look into it, almost every team was doing like at least one player on their team. Every player was doing it, but
I
it
mean,
just
maybe
wasn't.
to a certain extent, but
Yeah,
not
to a
like
certain
some of the other guys.
to a certain extent, like with the sign stealing, every team's doing it, but to a certain extent. When
Yeah,
they
because players have been
when they
saying
get
it for
bumped,
years. It's been happening.
yeah, and but when they get too extreme with it, like you could say Mark McGuire or guys like that did with their steroid use, then it kind of gets like, okay, maybe this was too far. We are allowing it to some point, but maybe the point you took it to was just a little too far. And that's what you could say with the Astros and Red Sox and Yankees.
I truthfully, maybe it's just because it's the Red Sox. I don't know, but I truthfully think they were doing it the least out of everybody.
Oh no, I totally agree with you on
Because
that.
how they had already gotten pinned for the Apple Watch, and they were like already being under a magnifying glass for that. So I think that they kind of slowed down. I think they were only doing it in like what, 13 or 14. I think it was 13 when they beat the Tigers. I think because I think that was when the Apple Watch first started, and then like 15 or 16, whatever, when they were also in the playoffs.
See,
and
I
17.
I think the Red Sox just got their name thrown in the mud because just they were due to association.
Because of Cora.
Because of Cora, and because they had already had a past with possible sign stealing and cheating. So they just got their name drug in the mud and kind of just they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, you could say.
I don't know how everybody just bypassed the whole Carlos Beltran thing. He said as a player, he did it. As a coach, he did it. I'm sure he planned on doing it in New York with the Mets.
Yeah.
And Joe would have been very happy about that, I feel like.
I mean, their first baseman's already on roids, so he doesn't need to know what's coming.
And their
Pete ain't on
second
roids.
baseman.
Yeah, and their second baseman. They have a polar bear and a squirrel that are chewing on mouthfuls of
But,
roids
I mean,
during the game.
If you look at it, imagine if the MLB said, okay, the team that has been to the World Series, was it 2 out of the last 3 years? Have they been to the World Series the past 3 years?
Astros?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, the Red Sox won one time, right?
I think they've been 2 out of the past 3 though.
Yeah.
Red Sox won 2018.
And won a World Series, and then one of the most popular team in the MLB, the New York Yankees. If we said both of them were cheating, it would be catastrophic for the MLB.
I want to see if the Dodgers were doing it, but then again, the Dodgers, if they were doing it, they weren't doing it.
They were doing. They probably won.
I don't think the Dodgers did it.
Because they were at the bottom of a pool when it came to the playoffs every year and swimming on their way up.
There's this tweet. There's this tweet that said that the Yankees, Rangers, Royals, and Phillies have been using a different method of sign stealing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and are any of them
Which
going
is
to get
probably the watches.
punished? Probably not.
It's always been since this whole stuff came out, which is worse, the sign stealing or the roids?
I think the roids.
I don't know. I almost say I don't mind either, but I guess if everybody was doing it, both of them, I guess I wouldn't care.
I mean, I feel like the sign stealing is more cheating.
I feel
Yeah,
like
because it takes more skill with the roids.
I feel like the
still gotta
sign
have some
stealing is
skill.
worse because you're breaking down a team with roids. You have a 50-50 shot. You got to be good at making contact.
Like
with that ball.
that's what Mark McGuire said in Long Gone Summer. He's like, yeah, I was taking them, but that didn't guarantee I was going to hit a home run. He's like, I still had to get a good pitch, still had to put a good swing on it, and had to have everything go right for it to get out of it.
It's still not
like
easy.
one of our close friends, he is believed to take roids, and we can't confirm or deny. But
yeah,
he's
on
strong,
some metabolic
but
stuff.
Like, I mean, that doesn't mean he can go out there and be a great fighter. I mean, you got to learn the tendencies. Like, you got to, yeah.
Yes.
But you gotta learn. You gotta make sure you're timing that hit up. You got a good pitch.
Which is why I've always said, by the way, Barry Bonds is the best baseball player ever. Roids
he's in debate up there because just like Mark McGwire, just like Sammy Sosa, he had to have good baseball tendencies to do that good. Yes, the roids helped him, but you still have to be good at the game of baseball.
Which that's also why when it comes up, if I don't say Barry Bonds, I say Ken Griffey Jr. because it's easier to not get jumped on if you say Ken Griffey Jr. instead of Barry Bonds because of the whole roid situation. But
so yeah, that's in the fact of I think the sign stealing, it definitely just like the steroid era. This is going to be labeled as the sign stealing era, and I think it will go down as kind of a big blemish on MLB history, and
especially if more of it comes out about other teams.
Yeah.
Or if they really find out what the Yankees were doing.
Well, the MLB hasn't done a good job of putting this under the rug when they can't even play the next season and decide whether they're going to do anything.
It was under the rug for probably a few mil from the Steinbrenner family. Then
I was going to continue.
The rug got sold, and they found
Mr. Rob Manfred. He has single-handedly
horrible. Been saying this for years.
He has single-handedly made a scandal, pushed it under the rug, and now it's being covered, and now it's coming up. He has basically
stupid rules, the worst things I've ever
implemented
seen.
Stupid rules. The MLB season is in his hands now because the players and the league cannot come to an agreement. So basically, baseball is in the hand of Rob Manfred, and
Which is
personally,
bad.
I don't think that should be.
Personally,
I don't think that's a good thing.
I don't think it's going to come back because I've said it before. I'll say it again, and I'll continue saying it until there's a new commissioner. Rob Manfred is the worst commissioner in all of sports.
See, I didn't think people. I'm not sure or not, but I think people didn't like Bud Selig, but I think he was a lot better than Rob Manfred is.
I don't know
Roger because
Goodell's a
he
bad
loves
one.
to troll. He loves to troll.
Goodell's
Manfred's just straight up stupid. Goodell loves to troll, and he knows what he's doing. Rob Manfred's just straight up stupid.
I mean,
Okay.
I'll say that this
No.
Roger Goodell's rule changes have been decent. There's been bad ones, but I think most of them are good. Rob Manfred's have just been stupid.
No, Rob Manfred, a 5-year-old could do the job he's doing. Probably better. Like, he literally does nothing. He does nothing to transcend the game of baseball.
Besides, hey, I'm getting bored. I don't watch games, but I'm getting bored, so I'm gonna put a clock in the minor leagues to see how that
Like,
works.
honestly,
by the way, I'm also gonna fire umpires. Get a robot in there.
like, honestly, I feel like no one even knows who the commissioner of baseball is. Like,
No.
that's how bad
they
of a
know him for
commissioner
being
he
stupid
is.
though, so I think maybe.
I mean, I feel like most people are starting to learn who he is, but I guarantee you 5 years ago, you ask somebody, like a casual baseball fan, who's the commissioner of baseball? They'll be like,
They probably still think it was Bud Selig.
Probably. See, that's how bad of a commissioner he is. He hasn't done
He's
anything.
for himself. He's for himself. He's for the Veterans Committee, and he's for like the older crowd.
Yeah, he's a horrible commissioner.
With partly newer because of the clocks, because all the newer people want the clocks because their attention span is the size of a cheese grain. I mean, a shredded
Slice of
cheese.
cheese, yeah.
Shredded cheese. But other than that,
I mean, my take here is I don't think Rob Manfred's the worst commissioner in sports. I think Gary Bettman's pretty bad for the NHL. I mean, the guy got coronavirus and he got it through, but the way that he processes teams is just god awful. If the team's not good, he sells it off someplace else and he picks it back up. Oh, the city wants it. Oh, let's place it here.
I saw that they were praising him though, because how he got the tournament rules and such out so fast.
I mean, yeah, he did. He handled that good, but the way that he handles teams is awful. Like the North Stars. Why would you move the North Stars from Minnesota and put them in Dallas? What kind of sense does that make at all? I mean, we're the state of hockey, and you give us one of the shittiest teams.
I mean, then again, the North Star, the Dallas Stars have like one of the highest attendance rates in the NHL.
Right? Yeah. I have never been a fan of Gary Bettman. That's just my. I don't
even think he was the one that did that. I think that was a commissioner before him. Because the North Stars were moved in like.
Oh yeah, it was a long time ago, but I still think that he moves teams quite often.
Which that's the other thing I've noticed about hockey is that I feel like teams move a lot, which I don't feel like that's good for like fan base and the retaining fans.
I don't think it is. Like if you look at like the NFL, teams in the NFL and the NBA don't really move that much. Like the last big team to move in the NBA was.
OKC.
Was it the OKC?
Yeah, it was
Sonics?
OKC in like 08.
Yeah, in like 08. the last big move in the NFL was the two teams to. Well, actually, there has been a lot of moving in the NFL recently, but for a good stretch, there was nobody really moved.
You can say from about early 2000s till recently, there hasn't been really any big moves in the
The
NFL.
only move was what
Mhm.
St. Louis to Los Angeles, but that they were already
Yeah.
in Los Angeles before. So
And
I
then,
mean, you count.
and then the Oakland to now the biggest one was Oakland to Las Vegas.
No, I think the biggest one was San Diego to LA because a lot of
Well, that was
there was
stupid.
still a lot of San Diego fans. It's just San Diego didn't want to make a new stadium.
Yeah, I mean,
think
and
that was
it's
the biggest one.
and in everything, it's just greedy owners wanting a big stadium and not paying any of the money for it. But that's
Yeah.
not the topic right now. The topic's MLB. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it's even with the new players coming in. Like Jeff Passan tweeted out, he's even getting like a lot of. Oh, what I was gonna say,
Jeff
is-
Passan and Carl Ravitch are over it.
Yeah, they're over everything, and I think I shared it in the group chat about that ESPN commentator calling out Rob Manfred on live TV.
That's Carl Ravitch.
Yeah. He called out Rob Manfred on live TV about.
He's done it a few times. I saw that he did it to some owners or general managers or something too.
Which I mean, someone needed to call him out. He needed to be called out.
And he dodged it so hard.
Oh, he was like,
I'm not
yeah,
going
I
to
don't
talk
think-
numbers with you.
I'm sure after he was done with the draft and everything, he marched to the front office at ESPN and said, "Get Carl Ravitch off the air."
Oh, I guarantee, without a doubt, he definitely said.
It's as that's almost as bad as Goodell and Dave Portnoy.
Oh no, because I know we don't like him around here, but Joe Buck, he's said some controversial things about Goodell, and Goodell's gotten pissed off at him, tried to get him thrown off the air. So I mean,
so have a lot of people with ears
but yeah,
have said some things about him.
but something that Jeff Passan tweeted out today or Sunday was, for players who signed as undrafted free agents for $20,000 max, I'm sorry for the inconsiderate your introduction into the professional game involves receiving a fraction of what you'd be worth if you weren't used as pawns in a labor fight. So I mean, when you
So the
look
thing
at
is that from what I heard, the MLB players it's not even a labor fight. It's just the MLB Players Association has no grounds because they can't strike. They can't lock. There can't be a lockout.
Yep.
no, when you look at it, I mean, again, I'm gonna reference our favorite show here, the Pat.
That's what I heard it on Pat
That's where,
McAfee.
I was gonna say
I heard
that's
it on
where
Pat
we've
McAfee.
gotten that news from.
No, he said the players can technically. He was like they can
Just
go
stand
on the
there.
field, and he said the batter can stand in the batter's box, and the pitcher can stand on the mound, and they can just stand there for 3 whole hours.
Imagine the national
mean,
coverage of that.
That
Like
would
they're tuning
be-
in, they're like, let's look at these guys just standing there, and then you got Rob Manfred hopping on a private jet to go to that game and tear them off the field.
Yeah, like,
that'd be crazy.
Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna bring the
Talk-
police in and try to get him off the
Yeah.
field? Like you
Just
can't do
pull
anything.
a Trevor Bauer and just throw the
Like-
ball in the outfield.
Just throw the
Like-
ball in the outfield. Keep throwing balls in the outfield. If there's no balls, you can't play. So
Talk about
I
the
guess-
worldwide coverage that you would get. Baseball would definitely be back on the map.
That would
Not for a
definitely
good reason,
send
bud.
that would send shockwaves through the game of baseball if players did that. And honestly, I feel like it needs to be done.
I mean, it still depends on what
Well, no.
the deal is. If
Even-
the deal is
okay.
going to be 100% of the salary.
even if the
for each
deal has
game.
gone through, something needs to be done to show Rob Manfred that he doesn't have control of his players.
I know that it's the fan perspective here, so it's like kind of on the on the side of the owners, but like also in between. At this point, I do not care if they're getting 100%, if they're getting 70%. I don't care. As long as there's more than 48 games, that's all I care about. Can we get
Which
to the
40
70 to 85, maybe 100? I mean, I know we're not going 100.
Just make it like 80 games.
Can we
give
get
them
around
100%.
Well,
I don't
no,
care
it's
how
not-
much they're making.
I don't even know if that's
The-
possible now.
48 games is the only amount that they can go to now. That's the only amount that Rob Manfred can force them to play.
Yeah, and if I'm a player, I see 48 games. I'm like, nah, I'd rather work out.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Just
I
work
mean,
out
you-
for
okay.
next season.
let's take into perspective 48 games, and then I mean, you could probably play half of that in the playoffs. So you're
The thi-
playing
Yeah,
Maybe.
you would be.
you're probably maybe playing 70 games total.
When
The
did
thing
they-
about the 48 games, I mean, it does let anybody sneak in.
You're right.
Like, if I'm the worst team in the major leagues last year, I might creep up there. But like, I don't. If they're going to be any team really, if you're going to be watch a team, you're not going to watch 48 games. It's like a little tease, like, oh, it's over already.
Yeah.
Because like to an actual fan, the season kind of seems like middle of being short, but like also long at the same time. So like it's gonna feel like you blinked and it's over. It's like playing spring training all over again.
But at the same time, I feel like that would get a lot of fans watching it because, yeah, okay, it's 48 games. You don't have to watch that much baseball, and I know a lot of people don't like watching baseball because they say it's quote-unquote a boring, long game.
I guess it might make up for it if they televise spring training games and like, the stuff they're doing down there. I guess it will take up time.
I don't like having 182 games because by the middle of the season, I'm already like
they don't
162.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an ungodly amount of games in baseball. By like game, like I'll start watching like the first part of the season, and by like game like 60, I'm just tired of baseball. And then by like game like 150, the NFL and the NHL comes back.
That's happened when you're the Blue Jay fan the last few years.
Well, I mean, Kevin Youkilis said on our favorite show, he said, I feel like the season should be 160 to 155. If you're going to take off games, take off a few amount. Don't take off 20-ish.
I mean,
I like the long season. It shows what team has what team has it for forever.
That's what separates it from any other sport. Is that you're playing every other season, no matter what the sport is. You blink and it's over.
See, I'm not dogging on the long season because I'm an average fan. Like I watch every year, but I'm talking about like the people that are like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm a Tigers fan or I'm a Blue Jays fan, I'm a Twins fan, and just want to hop in to watch a game. Like some people I feel like they get bored with it, and that's why
the thing is that if you don't watch every game, then you're called a bandwagon. And it's like I don't want to watch. Like there's baseball. There's like your team plays almost every day. Now, I don't wake up every day and think I want to watch some baseball.
That's the best part about it. I know I'm in the minority here, but like that's the reason why I could never get into football because it's over. It's over like that, and like the same thing. That's the only part I don't like about basketball. They play 2 games a week, and it still seems like.
The thing about
forever, but
it's like football
they're not even existent.
That I like the most is that Sunday. It's like you wait. The hype builds up every week until Sunday.
And you go out there and get crushed, and you're sad for a week.
Well, sometimes that happens.
The thing about football is, it gives like the average American something to look forward to on the weekend.
Yeah.
Because then they have. I know it's the same saying this, but high school football Friday night, college football Saturday, and then Sunday.
It's a whole weekend.
Yeah, you get all 3 levels of football 3 days in a row, which is pretty entertaining. You even get early football. You get 5 days of football.
You get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday night game, and then it starts over all again.
That's why I don't mind turning on the TV at any given time and having a baseball game on, no matter what team it is.
Yeah, and I think that to an average consumer of sports, you don't have to watch every 162 games.
Yeah.
But to know that it's there when you want to watch it on a 7:10 or when you get home from work,
anytime you're bored,
exactly.
a random team's going to be on, and you could become a fan of a random player on that team or of that team.
Yeah,
exactly.
From just seeing them on.
Yep.
I think the only time I don't even think I watched every game, but I was gonna say the only time I would have almost watched a whole season was 2012 when Miguel Cabrera was getting the Triple Crown, but that was it.
Yeah, I watched a lot of games that season, and I watched a lot of games.
Holy shit, guys!
I want to say like maybe 2016.
Yeah.
What's up, Brad?
Yeah, Nick, go ahead. I was trying to make some room for Nick here. Holy shit.
See, the only thing about baseball is I can't watch another team play.
That's one thing I can't do with baseball.
You should be used to it just like us, watching a terrible team. You should want to watch a good team.
Like, I can watch the Jays, but if I watch a random game like the Phillies versus the Cardinals, I can't watch it. I mean, unless I'm doing like FanDuel.
Right.
Like that's the thing.
That's the opposite. I've always watched a good Tigers team. Now they're bad, so I like to watch a
football.
Good team.
I can watch any game.
Yeah. Being a Blue Jays fan in Tennessee, if you don't have MLB TV, you watch about 5 games a year, because that's the only ones that are on MLB Network.
That's the thing. That's just the life you're living of picking to to watch
Yeah.
a team that's in a different.
Like, I don't want to watch the Braves and I don't want to watch the Reds. I don't care about those teams. But since they have the I don't even know regional, I forgot what it's called, but like region locks. Yeah, it's basically just region locks where you're gonna
Blackout,
yeah.
The thing
So-
about the MLB, I feel, what's hard for some people is that there's so many players that it's hard to keep track who's coming up and who's coming down.
and then you start liking the underrated guys and the lower guys like
No, but I'm saying like
DK.
for us people that actually watch sports, that's fun. Like we like seeing it, but the people that like tune in every once in a while, like it's hard for them to follow because the teams are always changing so much,
Right.
especially with the MLB. Where like NFL, NBA, you get consistent lineups
Right.
and of people that are playing weekly.
And there's just way less. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
like
And
a
one thing I like
a
about
casual
the-
fan's not going to know Elisa or Luis Arise, but someone who's known the system or whatever is going to know that he's coming up. He's going to be a good prospect.
But
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like I was saying, if you turn it on, you see a random team. You're in Texas, and you turn it on, and there's somehow a Twins game that's nationally televised. You see Luis Arise have a good game, like, yo, I want to look into him, or yo, I
Right,
think he's good, or
Right.
yo, I like him because he's short and chubby. Like
That's Williams out of steel, but yeah.
they both are. But
Yeah, one thing I feel like it's a difference in opinion on this, but I like the NFL's format because it feels like every game means a lot. Like in the NFL, if you go on a 3-game losing streak, there's something bad happening. Like you're going to have to turn it around. If you go on a 3-game losing streak in baseball, it's nothing. You can literally just win 3 more games after that,
yeah, that's the
or
beauty of it.
win 3 games later on down the road to balance that out.
Okay, but here's my counterpoint to that. To see a team that's the best team in that sport, if we watch the NFL go 162 games, you're going to figure out who's the best team in that sport. With baseball, you get that. If you get 16 games in baseball, you could get lucky as hell and boom, you're somehow in the World
But
Series.
I never said that baseball should be 16 games. I just don't think it should be 162 games.
I mean,
Why?
that's
It makes more room to only win 43 games.
right.
See, I feel like baseball, you're right, it needs a longer
Damn
season to
Tigers
figure out
reference.
who's the best. Because with football, you can easily figure out who has the better team, and like you can figure out who has the best team in 3 games in baseball or in football. While in baseball, you need
About a half a season.
about a half a season, and then in comparison to basketball, you probably need about a quarter of a season maybe to see who's the best. So all these sports, I feel, I mean, obviously these were planned out in how long these seasons were for a certain reason, because you need to figure out in these certain amount of games who your best players or who your best teams are going to be, because you want to make the playoffs the most competitive it can be. And if someone can sneak in that last couple of games, then let them, you know?
And it was also made because like when baseball first became big, how it's America's pastime. It was because it was the biggest thing in the country back when it was made in the early, or I mean, not, it wasn't made in the early 1900s, but like around that time, that was the only thing to do. So that took up a lot of your time, like throughout the year.
Yeah, because
So it was when you weren't having to be out on the farm or fighting in a war or anything else.
The
assembly
100
line.
the 162 game system or year wasn't implemented until 1961. So I mean, in baseball, you can say it's about like halfway through its history when it was implemented.
Yeah.
Because before that, I think they were at like 140, 150 games.
But also almost halfway through their history, they weren't getting paid either.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they were getting paid. It was just like dirt, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Literally, like
That's
I think Babe Ruth at one point was playing for like a beer a game.
It did pay more than some factories and assembly lines though.
Which, yeah. But I feel like most of those guys, like back in the day, most of those guys were playing baseball, and then in the off season they were doing regular jobs, like they had to.
I mean, like a certain Twins pitcher that drives Uber in the off season. Like,
Hey, don't disrespect Randy.
Well, I think this whole conversation, we really just aren't happy with
it
them.
spiraled really into a roast overall.
Yeah, but I think in conclusion, we want base back, and we want it to the point where Rob Manfred isn't messing up the league anymore. And I think the only way we're going to get that is if he's not the commissioner.
I'll give this whole podcast in conclusion. Fuck Rob Manfred and fuck the Yankees.
But I don't know how Tony La Russa lets it happen. I know he's under Rob Manfred, but gosh, Tony La Russa might be a twisted guy altogether. 'cause
MLB's out of control.
Yeah,
he
the
did
MLB
manage
is out.
Mark
In
McGwire while
conclusion,
he was on roids.
in
so.
conclusion, the MLB is out of control. Possibly couldn't see a season from them. Or
I think you will. It'll be forced, and you'll see a lot of guys not play.
I don't
Yeah.
even want a season at this point.
I mean, I want a season, but I
I do
don't want a
because I'm
season
bored.
that's forced. I don't want players being forced out there to play. I want them to want to play.
I want to see one just because I'm bored, and I don't want to have to look at games that are on at 6 a.m. of guys that I have no idea how to say their names.
I mean,
And also just for it to feel right again.
A 48-game season is going to be so garbage, I feel like.
it
it will
at that
be,
point,
but-
at that point, you're getting more enjoyment from watching the KBO.
But if I'm watching a bunch of prospects out there, it'll be a fun time.
So, I mean, yeah, I think we just want baseball back. But I think that's all we got for this episode, unless you guys got something else to say, or do we want like a final blow at the Yankees, anybody?
I mean, they know deep down,
Hey,
really.
here's my final take here. You know who you are. If you want to talk shit about another team, and then all of a sudden when your team's under the radar, you're, oh, I'm sorry. I think you should maybe stop talking so much shit.
That's another thing.
The apology, in general, the apology better be louder than the disrespect.
Correct.
Yeah, because a lot of Yankee fans have been exposed as hypocrites right
I mean,
now.
they aren't really Yankee fan anyway, so those don't count.
They live in New York and just say that they're a Yankee fan.
So, I think that's all we got.
I
for
was
this
just meaning all around the world, but yes,
Go Mets.
Go Mets at this point.
Well, let's
honestly.
hope A-Rod and J-Lo buy that team and make that team look superior to the piss-poor Yankees.
Oh man, if A-Rod starts sharing his roids with Pedo Bear Pete and he gets them on a different roid system, it'll go crazy.
He'll break Barry Bonds' record.
Mm-hmm.
Robinson Cano will be cranking about 40 at age 40.
They already shared the same stuff when they were on the Yankees.
So I think that's all we got for this episode. We'll be back on Friday for another one, and yeah, A&M on Wednesday, and then we got.
Well, we have another one Monday before A&M. Oh no, never mind. I forgot what day it was. Yeah, I mean, it might be. There's gonna be some sweaty talk.
Okay.
That
Sure.
A&M's gonna be sweaty.
No, but if you guys can just like and subscribe if you aren't already, and that'll be all for us. Jose, send it off.
To the home plate umpire, Corey Blazer. Here's a fly ball into right. Back at the wall. This game is over. Correa ends it.